What's up, everybody? Welcome to Alice and Anna. My name is Alice, and today I'm going to talk to you about how to get a driver's license in the UK. So the reason why I'm making this video is because I'm not from the UK, obviously, and from where I'm from, we do things completely differently there. So it's kind of hard to navigate and figure out exactly what you are supposed to do and how this all works, because honestly, it is really confusing for internationals to figure this whole thing out. At least in my experience, my brain did blow up a few times because I wasn't sure. So there are three main steps of getting your license, and the first one is you need to apply for a provisional driver's license. Provisional means, I don't know what it means. It's basically just like a plastic card, and I think you're allowed to drive scooters with that thing. I'm not sure. So to get one, if you're an international person, you need to have a valid visa. You have to be at least 15, I think, and you need to pay £34. You can apply for it by post or by filling an application form. But again, if you are an international and you're here for a visa, there's a very high chance that they will respond to you by sending you a letter, and then they will ask you to send your little visa card by letter to them. I think it's in Wales, the main office of whatever. Also, you sort of have to be quick with this whole application thing if they request a visa or something, because I think they only carry your application for like a month. And what happened to me the first time I applied, I couldn't send them the documents they asked me to in time because died and everything was closed. So by the time my docs reached them, they said, oh, it's been too long, so bye-bye. So they sent me my documents and my application, and they refunded me the money, so that's great. But yeah, it's really easy. You don't actually need to take any tests for it. You can just fill in an application form online. It takes like, I don't know, less than 5 minutes. Super easy. You got this. But £34 though. So once you get that plastic card, I unfortunately don't have it anymore because I'm waiting for my full license, you can drive. For me, that makes no sense. I think that's so dangerous, but there are restrictions, obviously, otherwise that would be insane. What they mean by that, I'm talking about cars specifically. I know nothing about motorcycles or scooters or whatever it is, so maybe it's different, but for cars specifically, you have to be at least 17 years old. You have to have your provisional license, and you have to have a car and a person supervising you. That's it. You can hit the streets. Obviously, there's also restrictions on who can supervise you. So that person has to be at least 21 years old, and they have had to have their license for at least 3 years. But it can be a family member, it can be a friend, it could be any random person, really. Oh, and when you drive, obviously, you have to have L plates saying that you're a loser. But yeah, that's step one. Go on the website, apply for provisional driver's license, pay the fee, wait a month or 2 or 3, get your card, and then you can drive on a car that has L plates with a person who's at least 21 and has had a license for 3 years. I know, it's weird, but it's true. So, okay, you got your provisional driver's license, it's great, but now you actually need to learn how to drive and get a full license. To do that, step number 1 is to apply for a theory test. It's gonna cost £23. You can apply online again for a test. There's actually a few centers all around, and they're all around London, so pretty easy with that. And also the waiting time for that test is quite small. I could have gone the next day, but I think I booked mine a week after I booked it. I actually am not sure if there are any courses that teach you theory specifically, because most people choose to do it at home by themselves because it's cheaper. And I agree with that. I learned the whole thing in a week and I went overboard. I was like a machine, okay? Like the things that I know, well, used to, because now I've erased it all from my memory, you're not supposed to know. Like It's no. Genuinely, 2 days of like good practice sessions, you will ace the test. It's super easy. Best thing you can do, I think, is to download this app and pay this price. I don't remember how much it is. It's gonna be for a month probably, but that should be enough for you. Do all of the practice tests and whatever and learn from that. And the more practice tests you do, the better you're going to do at your test, because basically they nailed it. The test that I had was pretty much identical to the test that I had on the exam. And also there is an official government website with practice tests as well. But the problem there is there's like the same variation, and obviously questions change. And yeah, you have to pay extra for that. If you are an insane person, just like me, who struggles with anxiety and loathes tests because, you can get these buds. One of them is the official highway code. They talk about it everywhere, and that's where you actually learn the signs and some random things. Honestly, this is a good thing to have, I think, if you're an international person driving in the UK, just in case. If you're getting a car, have it somewhere in the car for emergencies. I recommend. I think you can get an online version as well, but I don't know. I'm old school. I like learning from physical books. This is the official DVSA guide to driving, the essential skills. It's alright. It's not actually essential. There are things on there with illustrations, and it is like driving skills, right? So it's sort of great to know the theory part of driving, but then when you actually sit behind the wheel, obviously this is all going to be very different, so it's not actually that helpful. Oh, hello Mike. Honestly, if you just download that app and keep doing practice tests over and over and over again, and if you keep watching all of the hazard perception videos, you got it. They give you an hour to complete the test. I did mine in 15 minutes. I'm not bragging or anything, but I'm just telling you, genuinely, I did mine and almost everybody around me did their test in like from 10 to 15 minutes. So, okay, if you're anxious about tests, this is how it's gonna go. You're gonna go to a location. At the reception, they're gonna ask you what time is your test. They will take your provisional license, everything. Then you have to put all of your personal belongings, including your phone and everything, in a little locker. You have the key, and then you sit and wait. And then they invite you in one by one into a room. There's gonna be another dude who's gonna literally do the airport security check on you, that you don't have any cheat sheets or anything. You walk into a room, there's gonna be like 20 computers with little tiny little headphones like this. Yeah, the guy who will do the check, he will say, oh, computer number 17. You go there and you sit there, and there's going to be little dividers, and it's like a desk with dividers, so there's a bunch of people next to you, all around you. Not too many, like 20 as I said. And you do your test, and it's complete silence. You just hear and your headphones. I mean, you don't have to wear them until you do your hazard perception, but yeah, you know what I'm saying. I was sitting there and I was triple checking every one of my answers, but there would be people coming in, sitting next to me, and they would leave before I would leave, you know? So everybody does their test. Most people do their test pretty fast, so don't worry if they give you an hour and you finish yours in 5 minutes. It's okay. So yeah, just do a lot of practice tests on the phone, on the app, and you should be fine, honestly. Let's review. First step of getting your full license is to pass your theory test. To do that, you need to book it online. You have to pay £23 to book it, and in order to prepare for it, all you need to do is just practice it on your own. And the final step to everything is the driving test. Ooh. So, as I said before, once you have your provisional license, you can drive out in the street, out and about. For me, as a person not from the UK, that is insane. That is insane, because where I come from, there are government-approved driving schools. And to even take the test, you have to be in that school and you have to take lessons for theory and practice in that school. And before you can drive in the city, there's like special driving, like parking lot basically of that school with the cones, and you do exercises, and only then you're allowed to drive in the city. So the fact that here you can just scoot around, obviously with supervision, but still is wild. This, just so you know, you can't do that. I know a few people who learned how to drive with their parents or with their friends. That's great if you have them. Good for you. I learned with a driving instructor. It was so stressful to find one because I needed to find a government approved one as well and whatever. Honestly, that broke my bank, man. Driving lessons are expensive as hell. Lord, oh my god. And the more central you are, obviously the more expensive driving is gonna be. I'm gonna tell you how my first lesson went, so you guys should know what to expect. Oh, it can be different with your instructor though, so I don't know. I'm not promising anything. But he picked me up. He drove us to like a residential zone where there weren't any cars. Well, there were, but there were very little cars. I sat behind the wheel. He asked me what I know about cars, and I told him about my experience and everything. And during that first lesson, basically, we did some basic maneuvers like turning left, turning right, all of that jazz, because he needed to see at which level of driving I am. I recommend taking 2-hour lessons because I think 1 hour just isn't enough, and 2 hours, it sounds like a lot of driving, but it actually isn't. And it allows you to actually learn things and practice them as well, so you progress much faster. As I said before, I didn't know how to drive before taking the lessons. I just didn't know how to drive on the other side of the road. And also, the bonus of getting a good driving instructor is that they tell you what your examiner will want to see you do. And I think that's really useful. Basically, we did all of the basic maneuvers and everything, and he would just tell me what I'd need to sort of not really exaggerate, but be mindful of, because they will be looking for those things. If you are a complete beginner and you're very anxious about driving, be prepared to spend money. Ooh. Anyways, you have your lessons, whether it's with family or friends or a driving instructor, driving school, whatever. You think you're ready for a test. Good for you. The test is gonna cost £75. Oh, this is actually where it gets interesting, and this is where it broke my brain. For the test, you have to provide a car. The examiners, they don't have cars. You have to bring your own car. Either your family, friends or something, make sure that it fits all of the, descriptions on the website of what kind of car you have to have for a test. Or what I did, I took my driver instructor's car. But that is wild to me, sorry. As a foreigner, that is insane. You can bring people with you. I don't know if it's multiple. I think it's just one person. But you can bring one person with you on your test, just for mental support. Obviously, they're not allowed to talk to you. Taking the test. You're gonna walk into the test center. Where I took my test, it just looked like a room. Just a room with chairs and nothing in it. No other rooms, by the way. Just that one room. It looked like a glorified giant bus stop. There's gonna be other people sitting there with their driving instructors or whoever. And then at some point, the examiner will walk in with their little visor jacket or something, and they will ask, is there an Alice who's taking her test at 2:30? And you're like, oh, that's me. You just sign saying like, oh yes, I'm ready for a test, and this is my name and my email. And then you just walk to the car. You sit inside, the examiner will sit on the passenger seat, and they will tell you what's going on. In my test, she asked me a show me question, which is basically when they ask you to show you something about the car. And then at my test, she put up the sat nav and said that I was gonna follow sat-nav for the next like 20 minutes or something. Depending on your examiner, and you have to judge the vibe as well, you can either talk to them or you can stay completely silent. I was sort of speaking to her a little bit and joking around like, ooh, there's traffic, haha. But also I was sweating and I was so nervous, and I was like, for me, when I'm hyper focused on something, I can't really speak because I'm so like, I don't know, I forget how to, I'm focused on what I'm doing, so I would forget how to talk. She would ask me something and I would be like, 1 second please, let me finish going on this roundabout. And then once I'll be out of like a dangerous situation, that's when I would answer her question. And my examiner was really nice as well, so that was great. So a lot of pulling up on the left just to show that you can do that. I did Front Bay Park, a lot of roundabouts. I did following the sat-nav and then following her directions. I did a little bit of dual carriageway driving. I think that's it. Yeah, so my test was pretty easy, I want to say. I mean, it wasn't because there was a lot of traffic, but it was alright. So that's why I think taking a lesson from an instructor at least once, aka taking at least one mock test, is super important, because they will ask you to do these maneuvers. And if you know how to drive, obviously you know how to drive, but you might not be expecting to be asked to perform certain things. And the thing is that they want you to perform them in a certain kind of way. So that's why it's good to know what to expect. Like, they will definitely ask you to pull up on the left a few times. They will definitely ask you to either Front Bay Park or reverse Bay Park or parallel park, or maybe pull up on the right and reverse 2 cars lengths, or emergency stop, like, you know, those things you know how to do. But as I said, they're looking for specific things, and if you're with a good driving instructor, they will tell you what are those things that you have to do. So yeah, I passed my test on the first try. Thank you very much. I think the best thing as well you can do to prepare for your driving test is, number 1, take the mock test with a good instructor. 2 is, you know where you're going to be taking your test if you've already booked it. So you go on YouTube and search so-and-so driving test route, and then just look at those routes. Look at the things that might scare you. Obviously, it's not the same as driving, but it's good to be aware of those hazards. So for example, in one of the routes, there was the limiter thingy. Looks like this. And those terrify me, especially since I knew that I wasn't going to drive my car. It's going to be my instructor's car, so obviously I didn't want to damage it or something. So I was scared. And then next time I had my lesson, I talked to my instructor and I told him, oh hey, I've seen this thing. It terrifies me. Can we practice it? I didn't end up driving there during my actual exam, but I knew that if I had to, I was prepared and I knew how to do it. And when you're on YouTube, don't just watch your testing center routes. Also watch other people taking their mock exams and stuff. So there's this guy, and I watched like 3 or 4 of his videos, and considering the fact that they were all like almost an hour long, that's a lot, okay? Because you get to watch what mistakes people do, so when you take your test, you're mindful of them, mindful of those things. So to recap, taking the driving test. Make sure you're driving a car with L plates and with an instructor or whoever it is that's teaching you. Make sure you have your provisional license with you at all times in case you ever get stopped or whatever. This is an advice, but take 2-hour lessons if you can, because that's better. Take a mock practice test for sure, so you know what to expect on your actual exam. Watch your testing center route videos and watch other people taking their mock exams. Book your test. It's gonna cost £75. Giant waiting time, by the way. I think it's a 9-month waiting list right now. Bring your own car or your instructor's car to the test. And obviously bring your provisional driver's license to the test as well. I think that's it. Those are the basics. This is how I did it. Considering, again, that I passed on my first try, I think I did it right. I'm sorry. It is a little bit confusing, I'm not gonna lie. Or maybe I'm just really dumb. Probably am, but I think I'll say it one more time just in case. When you're learning how to drive, there aren't any rules on what you have to do before taking your exam. You don't have to have a certain amount of hours. It's completely up to you. You don't have to do training grounds first and then city driving. No, it's city driving pretty much straight away for other foreigners out there because, yeah, again, blew my mind. Be prepared to spend money and time on this whole endeavor. Because even if you don't take any driving lessons, just booking the tests alone will cost you at least £132, which is expensive. Come on. And then if you're also a complete beginner and want to take like 30 hours, let's say, of driving, that will be around £1,000. And then you'll also have to pay to your instructor for the car hire during the test as well. So that's also going to be like a few £100s. Yeah, expensive and time consuming because your provisional license will take a few months, your theory test will take a week, your driving test will take 9 months. Oh my god. Why is it so complicated? Jesus Christ. Just be smart about it. Don't be stupid. Do as much preparation as you can. If you watch this video, you're on the right track. Congratulations. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful and you actually understand how this whole process works. If you don't, leave a comment. I will try my best to explain it. I will leave the links down below for the app, the government guide, YouTube channels that helped me when I was training and everything, and other helpful material that I used to pass. If you do decide to get your UK driver's license, good luck. I shall be praying for your succession. I just hope it will work out, let's say that. Anyways, have a lovely day, y'all. Bye!